Hello traders, it's Pierre here from PAFX again in a weekly market overview. I hope you all had a great trading week. I had a great one that ended very well. We started good, then I got some losses, but then Friday was great trading day. So yeah, I hope that all of you had a great trading week last week. Is the sound and picture okay, guys? Looks like we are about 22 viewers already, and we may get started very soon, yeah? Hello, Illuminati Reloaded, Mr. Chris, how are you, my friend? Hello, Winey. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, as usual, I'm just giving it one more minute so everyone that want to join live have the chance to do that. And we will get started. It looks like we are about 30 people now. Please say hi, let me know that where from you're coming, if it's your first time here. And 30 viewers, that mean we should have at least 30 likes for now. I see only 3, man. Come on, give me the like button and yeah, make me keep doing this. Otherwise it's gonna feel like, why the hell am I doing this? Hello Michael, hi Huzaifa, welcome Neil, welcome Neil Arias, where are you from, guys? Hello Christina, Jay, welcome. Yeah, nice to see you here, Neil, for the first time. Masoud, welcome. Tanzania, welcome. It looks like yeah, now I see the likes button is being used. Then I think we may get started soon when we hit 30 likes. I'm just kidding, guys, I'm just kidding. So yeah, let's get started. I have a couple of things that I want to mention. For all of you that are in the considering mode about my course and that already talked to me and got all the information and in the considering and thinking mode, I can tell you that the time is now to come back to me and say if you want to join or not, because I only have 2 seats left. I'm not gonna take more than 10 people in the course, because I want to give quality time to all the students. So I only have 2 seats left. Those of you who are still thinking have to give me an answer very soon. The course will start first week in September, yeah? And for those of you who not joined my Telegram channel, I do recommend you to join it. Everyone there love it, and just search for PA Forex at PA Forex. Make a search at Telegram and you will find the channel, yeah? So let's get to business. And first of all, the disclaimer. So guys, please read the disclaimer very, very carefully and know about the risk involved in trading. This session is only my way and how I see the market. It's not a recommendation to take any trade at all or any signal in any way. It's just how I read the market and the way I'm gonna trade in it, yeah? So please read it carefully, hit the pause button, read it, and then you can continue the show. Well, that was it. Let's get started with the Dixie as usual. Just let me see if there is any thing new in the chat. Welcome from Kenya, welcome from Dubai. Nice to see some people from the Middle East here. It's not always we got people from the Middle East. So welcome everyone, yeah? Let's start with the Dixie as usual, guys. We see that is very clear. We're still in that downtrend on the Dixie, and once again we're back at that very important support level, yeah? been talking about this level for a while now. We had a nice bounce here, but yeah, as you see last week, we got lots of rejection from the upside, and now we're heading back down again after those a couple of shooting star formations here. So of course we want to be looking at this level down here to see if this is forming a double bottom for a possible let's make this one more time. If we are getting a double bottom here for a possible bounce back up, or if we're gonna break this level next week. If we got that double bottom we could have a nice ongoing bullish divergence on the RSI. But listen carefully, guys. This upcoming week and the rest of the months, looking at the situation between Trump and or USA and North Korea, you can see that the market sentiment is in a very fear mode. We saw lots of that last week, and we saw how the stock market was crashing Thursday, and gold, Jappy and Swissy was getting much stronger. So when we have such scenarios in the market, I do recommend you to put lots of your time to gather that information and see what's going on, because actually the technicals would not work all the time when the market in such conditions. Yeah, so every tweet from Mr. Trump may move prices very crazy, and the whole world is looking and watching what will happen now, and investors' money been moving toward gold and Jappy and safe havens. So we may see some extreme moves if this continue like this. I wouldn't be very shocked if we see a new high made by gold, or Jappy breaking even better prices. Yeah, so I want you just to think about that. That technicals don't always help in such condition. Market will not respect those usual levels, and we may see some extreme moves. Yeah, so yeah, be careful, look at that, and calculate your risk wisely. So once again, we are back here down here. The last line of defense is the 92 level down here for the Dixie. If that breaks, we're going we have lots of room to the downside. Yeah, we're not there yet. We got last week this spin bar, but no continuation. No continuation after the NFE numbers. We got a good bounce to the upside, but then we got some more other USD news wasn't as good, and the NFP bounce happy move didn't give any more continuation, which make me a little bit more looking for there is a possibility that we may see keep going down. Yeah, and following the main trend. Yes, fine, let's keep going, and the rest will hopefully join very soon. So I was talking about the gold and the level we are at, and we were talking about this very important level where the price did leave this area last time we were trading here in a very strong momentum to the downside, and gave us a very good trade. What changed right now is what I talked about in the start of this session: the sentiment of the market and the money run from stocks to safe havens, and which make me a little bit cautious if we're gonna see the bounce from this level next week, or if we're gonna see a break. So in a normal market condition, I would say, guys, start looking for bearish evidence around the this area 1294, 1295. Look for bearish evidence for a bounce, for at least retest of this neckline or this level down here. And just because of the situation we have right now and the momentum that gold having, I am a little bit cautious at this level. I want to really see good signals. If I want to short the gold, we have to see a clear daily signals, rejection on daily level, a close below this hammer would be my confirmation that there is possibility that gold may reverse at this area. But nothing is changed in this trend. We're still trading in a very strong uptrend, but we are at a very important level where we should start looking for a possible downs to the downside. It's only a possibility, and if you're holding a long on gold, you probably would want to watch this level closely to see if we're gonna have a breakout and continuation of this strong trend or not. Looking at the weekly, this last week's candle was a huge one, and we see a lots of strength. You see the price did close near the highs, and there is a possibility that it may break this level and even test the 1310 area, yeah, at this structure here, yeah. So very important to see what will happen here next week. Even if you go down to the 4 hour, even if you see this bounce to the downside, that wouldn't be the start of the downtrend. It could be a correction down, and I would be looking for a possible long trade from this structure down here at this level, yeah, for a possible bounce back up again from this area or this level down here. The main trend is still intact, and it is a very, very strong trend. You see, we have to break this low down here to change this trend, because this is the major low we have on the gold. So there is a lots of room to the downside before we can say that we have broken this up move. Okay, so be careful. Daily RSI is also on the extreme, so yeah, we should be looking to this structure up here and wait for clear evidence before you do the short or even the long. You have to for the long side, you need to wait for a little bit of correction down. You can't buy here at near the top where it may reject back down, yeah. So if you want to trade a continuation of this trend, you need to wait for a retracement back down at least to this neckline before taking another bounce to the upside. Welcome back, everyone. We was about 50 viewer before the problem with the internet. Now we are 22 only. I hope that everyone else have the chance to join again. So oil, what a mess we have here on oil, and you see that the market have been a very choppy sideways market here last week, and but looking at the daily now, with the last this last major candle on Thursday was a bearish engulfing. We did break that range. The 4 hour range we were trading in was broken, and this is the range I'm talking about. It looks like oil did break that range and then bouncing back up for a possible retest of structure, and probably another push to this level could be what will happen next week. As you see, we did break all these lows. It was a clear break of this range. Now we have a clear lower low. We didn't have in this range here. We had almost equal highs and equal lows. But now, last week we did have a break of that level. We have a lower low, so we may start looking for a another possible bounce to the downside, especially if you see that this move to the upside can't break above this high here. If we see something like this and another move lower, then you have your lower low too, and you can start looking for a possible shorting, at least for this level for next week. Yeah, but it have been a very tricky market. If you are new to trading, I would recommend you to stay away from this until it start trending again, and that would be much easier. But this could be very strong traded. We had this fake out above the range here. You see it was a clear fake out here. This 4 hour here, many traders went long, and then it took everyone else back down and broke the low of the box all the way back down here. And now we see a possible retest, and what I'll be looking at first, a possible continuation down for me. Okay. Aussie Chief. A great trade that we some of the student was also following this one, and I was updating in the room about this one on the 4 hour, and it was a great move to the downside. Now it looks like Aussie Chief did found some support here. If we're gonna talk structure about this pair, we still actually have higher high and higher lows, another higher low here. So this trend still valid, but we have this consolidation here, which make it a possible thinking that when we had this consolidation, that it was contract gathering for start a trend to the downside. Yeah, because we did break this low here. This low is not broken, but what I will be looking at, what will happen when if price give us a bounce back up to this broken structure here, to see if we're gonna get rejected back down. If we got rejection at this level, then there would be a possibility that this may give us another bounce to the downside. So if we go down to the 4 hour, you see that this structure more clearly somewhere in this area here. You want to look and see how the price will react. On the 4 hour time frame, we did break the uptrend, and we are making lower lows and lower highs. So yeah, structure up here is where we should be looking at. The 0.766 is the area to look at for a possible bearish evidence, and that would give you a possible bounce to the downside. If you don't get that, that could mean that this was only a correction, and this will continue to the upside. As for now, it looks like we may see this keep moving up, because the RSI, we had a very good bullish engulfing on the RSI, inverted hammer formation, which closed above that. So there is some possibilities that we may see the test of this structure next week. So pay attention to this level next week. Yeah, The major structure still down here at around the 0.75 area. That is where this major trend gonna change if we break that level. Yeah. So lower time frame, the up move is broken, and it may give you some bounce to the downside. Daily we're still in an uptrend. The SMA I'm using is the 20. I think this is an EMA, and it's 20. Yeah, Clement. Aussie Jappy. We've been following this. You've got some update even on Telegram, I think, about the importance of this level here, and now that level got broken. We did a perfect double top with a very good, as you see here, the bearish divergence was very strong on this double top. It wasn't an easy move to the downside. As you see, it did correct higher lots of times, but every time it moves down, the candles were very big. So right now the RSI is at the extreme, at the oversold, and it is making a bullish hitting divergence. If you look at this low here, if you compare these close here and here, and the RSI is making the opposite. The price here still a little bit higher, but the RSI is on the extreme. And if you compare this one here to here, you see that the same. We have a convergence, yeah. But looking at this level between this and this structure and this structure, you see that we have hitting divergence. We have a great pin bar rejection from this structure here, which could be an area of support, and we could be seeing a possible bounce next week for a retest of this broken structure, and that's the structure where I'll be very interested to look at next week to see if the price going for a retest and possible bounce to the downside. Yeah, I'm not trading this to the upside, even though this trend was to the upside. I will be looking for a shorting opportunity to follow the last trend we have here, yeah, the move to the downside. So for me, I will be looking around the 85.500 area here to see a retest of structure or a possible 2618 trade. If we take a Fibonacci retracement tool, that would be even deeper correction, yeah. That would mean that we go above this structure here, up to this structure at the 61.8. That would be a 2618 trade, and give us a possible bounce to the downside. That would be very good. You can wait for bearish evidence around this area if you want to trade this 2618 scenario, yeah, because we are on the daily, and a limit order at this structure on the daily would be with a very big stop loss here, if you want to put your stop loss very high. So if you want to trade this 2618 idea, you would be looking for possible bearish evidence in this box, in this area up here, yeah. That would be a good level to look for a possible bounce back down, and especially if you got some evidence on the RSI. If the RSI got overbought very fast after this move, that would be even better, yeah, and give you more confidence to try to short from this level when you get your short signals. Aussie New Zealand back at supply. even though we had a very strong bullish engulfing day here, the Friday was rejection from this supply level after some stop loss hunt. If you see, this candle did break actually above the last high here, but we didn't have a close above this high. We do have some bearish divergence on the RSI. If you look at this stop and this stop here, it is a clear divergence to the downside, so there is a possibility that we may see another bounce down from this level. Yeah, but to take that, you probably want to go down to the 4-hour and look for another retest of this structure up here. And if you see that we can't break for a new high and the price start rejecting back down, give you some bearish evidence even on the RSI, which could give you a double top scenario up here in this structure, that would be a good signal to try to short it from this level here. If you see that this move, let's not forget we are still in a bullish move on the 4-hour. Yeah, we keep making higher highs and higher lows. Yeah, we never broke this high and close above it, but the lower time frame structure is still a bullish structure, and that's why you want to be careful up here. You want to see clear evidence for a possible downs from this supply level. Yeah, because that could be that is a counter trend trade. No matter how you look at it, this move to the upside is an uptrend. Yeah, but we have rejection. We have the Friday was a clear bearish day, and we need some more confirmation. As I said, I would love to see a double top here who never close above this area here. And if we got a signal as bearish engulfing on the 1-hour at this level here, that would be a good entry with a low risk. Yeah, but let's not forget it is a little bit counter trend, but we are taking the trade from the highs of this trading range, which should be okay in my rule book. Aussie USD. Well, we were looking for a possible move to the downside when we had those rejections. Yeah, and we saw that the uptrend was losing momentum and Aussie USD start heading down. But looking at those candles, if you compare all those candles against the time when Aussie USD were moving to the upside, you see the bulls candle here was much bigger, especially at the end. Yeah, this move to the downside was a very choppy move. Looking at the wicks of this move, lots of wicks, small bodies, no strong momentum to the downside. The RSI is making a very big hidden bullish divergence. You see this low is compared with this low here, this area here, this low and this low, and look at this low and this low. So this higher low, it's much higher than this one, but on the RSI the low here is much lower than this one, which give us a bullish hidden divergence. At that same level, we have the monthly pivot point, as you see here. I have it at this area here. So we went down below the monthly pivot point, and then we got rejected and closed above that pivot point and above the 20 moving average. It gave us also a bullish engulfing, which engulfed the whole body of this previous day. And as I said, good rejection from the downside. So what I'm looking at for next week is a possible break of this wedge or flag, and possible retest of the highs one more time at least. If we go down to the 4-hour, you see that we have also a clear bullish evidence on the RSI, bullish divergence here between this low and this low, and we have some kind of morning star formation, very strong candle here that break above the monthly pivot point. Then we got the retest with this hammer, and this was the last closing candle on Friday that I don't really count much. Could be daily trading close position here, which gave us this move to the downside. So yeah, very interested next week to see on lower time frame, maybe 1 hour and 15 minutes, if we're gonna see another retest of the monthly pivot point area, and I will be looking for a possible bullish evidence at this level for a possible trend, major trend continuation on this pair. Yeah. As for now, for this particular time frame, the trend is still not broken. So if you want to be the conservative trader, you want to see a break of this level here. This high should be broken, close above by a maybe 4 hour candle or 1 hour candle, retest, and then you should be much more safer to enter a trade long against this short-term trend. But once again, that would be still with this major trend to the upside, even though we had a break below this low here on the daily. Yeah, so I still can see a possible bounce higher here, especially now when we looking at the weekly, we did break all these levels here. Even this level is broken, so I see that we may see a possible retest, a possible test of the monthly R1 on this one. Kajapi, it did perform very well last week, and now we did break the monthly S1 pivot. We did break this neckline, and yeah, this up move was broken. This low was broken, this low was broken, so this move to the upside and this uptrend is broken and clear. So the levels I will be looking at for next week is of course a possible bounce here at this area, the 86.500. That would be the first level to look at early next week if we have a test of this structure, looking for bearish evidence to see if we can get a bounce to the downside. The good thing about this is the risk to reward would be good if you take if you get your bearish evidence somewhere in this area. Your stop loss could go 20 pips above this high, about this level up here. You can, as a first take profit, look a retest of these low. That would give you a good risk to reward trade, if you, of course, if you see those bearish evidence as this level, because the next area I will be looking at, if we don't see any bearish evidence at this level, is a trade from this structure. That would be a deeper correction to this area here, plotting a retracement, Fibonacci retracements, that would be somewhere around the 38.2. Another good structure to look at if we break this structure here. Yeah, so those are the level I'm looking at, and let's not forget that we have already hidden bearish divergence on the RSI. This high is much lower than this high, but on the RSI this high is much higher than this one. So there is divergence already. I still think that the monthly S1 could be resistant level now, and a possible bounce to the downside around this area and the 20 moving average. Euro Aussie, performed very well after this complete A, B, C, D move here. We had this a little bit of ugly head and shoulder that got broken, and another consolidation and break to the upside. So the area I'll be looking at for next week, if the price reach this level where we also have this structure here, it has been acting at good resistance in the past. We have also, let's crunch this a little bit, this long-term down trend line, and we have this structure back here. So the level is a good resistant level. We have also the monthly R1 at this area. So yeah, if you're holding along, you should be start looking what price is doing at this structure up here, and this level is where I will be looking at. If we test this area at first, then I will be watching this level for bearish evidence for a possible bounce back down. If we see this happen next week, a retest of this structure, then of course we can look for possible bounce from this area back up again to test this structure. I think the market objective is to try and test this structure up here for next week. So let's see if it's gonna keep heading up or if it's gonna test lower early next week. Looking at the 4 hour, you see that this structure is broken now. We had a higher close, retest, and then some choppiness. Yeah, I would prefer much better to the price reach this level first next week and give us nice bearish evidence to try to short it. Cause look left, if the price reaches this area, that would be a very good risk to reward trade to retest of the monthly pivot point or this structure up here. Yeah, Euro sterling keep trading higher, and we are now in this very good supply level. It looks like we've got rejected first time here, and Friday we have some rejection. So the bulls are not totally in control. We have some try to sell this, but none of them did work well yet. We trading about the monthly R1, and it looks like the monthly R2 is where could be market objective for as a target for those who's holding position trader that did buy Euro sterling at this level. This level up here could be a take profit target, and I still think we should be looking very carefully to this area for a possible bounce down or a trend reversal at this structure. Yeah, so I'm not buying in this structure up here. I will be looking more for bearish evidence, but as for now, daily and 4 hour, the structure is still bullish structure. We want to see at least on the 4 hour a break of this structure down here and retest in continuation for shorts. Yeah, that is a counter trend, and be careful, look for the market to start trending lower before going against a strong trend like this. But look guys, since this strong move, there's a lots of choppiness, and now we have same trouble at this area. Yeah, so it's not a very easy traded pair. Be very careful. Euro Jappy. Well, it looks like this box was broken last week, Thursday. After this spin bar and rejection, we got another bearish day. We broke, almost broke this box, but if we put it at the extreme lows of this low here, you see that we never had a close below this last one here. Yeah. At this same structure, we do also have the monthly S1, and it looks like Friday this pair did found some support at this low here, yeah, and did close back above the monthly S1, and it looks like we may have a retest of the monthly pivot point in the middle of this area here. So on the 4 hour, yeah, this structure is bearish structure now with lower lows and lower highs, another lower low and lower highs. 4 hour structure, it's actually a downtrend. So we could be looking what will happen when price reach this structure up here around the middle, the monthly pivot point, to possibly see another bounce to the downside of the box, or if we're gonna see a break and continuation to retest these highs. So lower time frame structure, we are in a bearish structure. As you see here, this was the last high, and since then we've been doing lower highs and lower lows, but we did reach a good level where we had this bounce last Friday. Yeah, take a look at this structure here. If it's gonna get broken, give you, if that happen, this structure get broken, and we see something like this, that would give you a possible inverted head and shoulder and continuation up. Yeah, so this pair right now in this back in the box, and you should be playing ping pong in this range. Try to buy the lows, sell the highs. If it reach back up at this area here, that would be another possibility to try to sell it. As for now, I think we may see lots of trouble around the monthly pivot point, because we do have already hidden divergence. Looking at these two highs, this one and this one, we do have bearish hidden divergence already, which mean if this keep heading up, the price keep heading, when it reaches this level, the RSI gonna already be at the extreme and the overbought, and that would probably give us a bounce from this level. Yeah, so two areas to look at: this monthly pivot point, and back down here around the monthly S1, or this bottom here, to try to look for a break or a bounce from this area, or a bounce from this level up here. Yeah, EURUSD, someone was asking what's going on with EURUSD, and what I said is it's just following its trend. Yeah, the major trend is the upside. We now clearly trading above that 1.1720, which one around that area was an important level. Looking left, you see that still this area here acting as support. Now we had a retest and a couple of days rejection, and Friday was a close above. We had the NFP numbers, and it looks like the Euro USD was starting to moving down, but then there was no continuation, and now it looks like it was only a retest of structure, and we had a close above any continuation. Last Friday, this pair gave me a very, very good trade to the upside after the bad news. And you see that yeah, we have the monthly pivot at this area here too, and it looks like that level is also a good support level after the retest and this continuation. So for next week, we have this range now, this trading range that we can trade from. So if we see if the markets start heading down early next week, you would be looking at this around the 17.17 area or 17.20 to try to go long from this area here to retest of the top of the range. And if it gives you bearish evidence, if it reaches the top of the range first and give you bearish evidence, then you can try to take a short back down. This is what we have for a trading range as for now, and this range still not broken, so why not keep trading it? Of course, the better if you get a trade from the downside and try to ride this one with the main trend to hopefully see if you're gonna get a break of this structure up here and possible continuation. Yeah, so those are the possibilities on this pair for next week. I don't think I need to explain more about this trend, so we still have an uptrend. Why not try to trade with it? Look for retest back down here if you got that, and look for a retest of these highs, or the monthly R1 should be a good target to start with. Sterling Aussie, it looks like after the retest of this broken structure here, we had a good momentum to the downside, and then some bullishness and some indecision Thursday and Friday. Yeah, so we are not now trading. We did a retest of the structure and the monthly pivot point and got rejected. I still see that this pattern could complete, because all this up move wasn't any strong move. We've been rejected back down every time. So for next week, we want to see a break of this structure here. If you want to be more sure for the downside, a break here would be great to try to ride this even lower. Or if you see that the price reach this area again at first next week, then you can try, or I would try to short it back down from this level and looking for a possible break this time. So I would take my partial take profit at this level and try to leave the rest and see if we're gonna get the break. Those are the levels we have for next week. You see, this is a clear range we are trading in, and we should be trying to keep trading in the range with the major trend which is to the downside. Yeah, so yeah, those are the areas, the important areas to look at. Sterling Jappy, it performed very well for those who shorted this pair, and after this bearish engulfing candle and the retest and the rejection, it was very clear that this pair have much more momentum to the downside. We did break this neckline and kept heading down. I was expecting a bounce at this level. We had that bounce for 1 day only, and on Thursday I tried to go long from somewhere in this level below here. I was very trigger happy at this one here, but I got taken out after this great move to the downside, as you see. So yeah, this daily move is very strong to the downside. We did break the monthly S2 also. We did break this major trend line, and it looks like Friday it did find some support and jump back up. What I'm be looking at, if on the 4 hour, if this move to the upside is a retest of the broken structure or not. Yeah, because as you see, we still trading below the monthly S2, and it's very important to see how this pair will react when next week, if we're gonna try a little deeper retest of this structure here to try to find bearish evidence and try to jump on to the downside. Looking on the 4-hour and the RSI, once again we have bearish heading divergence. Look at this high and this high, almost equal. They are almost equal, but this high and this high, they are very the high is a much steeper and down to the downside. So which means if this keep heading up next week for a retest of the structure, the RSI gonna be at the extremes once again, and could possibly give you another signal to continue this trend to the downside, especially if it do something like this and it close back below the monthly S2. Then I think we can start looking for a possible target around the S3 or even lower on this one. And if we keep having those troubles with North Korea and all the tweets going. Hello Vince, welcome. So yeah, Sterling, New Zealand. Am I doing the whole list? No. Okay, good. Yeah, we are back in that trading box. We have two boxes, the upper one and the lower one. So this pair has been very stupid simple to trade almost, if you know what you're doing. Of course, you had this upper range and the down this lower range, yeah, and it was giving lots of opportunities on lower time frame. Okay, on the daily you still have wicks and lots of troubles, as you see here and here, this fake out. But on the lower time frame, this range is much clearer, and you see that we are trading between the monthly R1 now. We have the monthly pivot point at this level, and we do have this support. The extreme low is here of this whole trading range, yeah, where we also have the monthly S1. So this structure here, when and if the price reaches this level here, it's gonna be a very important area, yeah, again. But we want to see if this structure gonna hold once again, yeah. So if we go down to the 4-hour, you see it, as I told you, it's much clearer, yeah. We did break back in the box, retested, up, retest, continuation, rejection from the top of the box, and now it looks like it's making some kind of flag and a possible retest of the monthly pivot points. Here we had a fake out and the railroad tracks back again in the box, and we had this consolidation break, and we, as far as we are trading on in those box, those are your opportunities. So don't jump in this broken flag. If it break it, wait. If you see that the price reach this level, give you a bullish evidence, 1 hour possibly, then you try to take another bounce to the upside and hoping for a break. If it break this level, then you want to see what will happen when it reach this area here, if it's gonna go back in the box, lower box, or not, or if it's gonna bounce back up. I think the monthly pivot point should act as a good support for now, but we want to see how things will go with sterling, especially if the sterling get some more strengths for next week or not, yeah. All for all, if we break the monthly R1 and we break this trading, this neckline, this box here, that would be the trade that you don't want to miss if you get that, yeah. But much have to happen before that happen. So yeah, very interesting pair, and it is making very interesting ranges. Sterling USD, guys, the uptrend on the daily is still intact. We never broke this low here. We still have a higher close here above this low. So this was our last high. This is still not a break and close below this structure, which for me is a signal that the trend is still intact. The Friday candle was a bullish engulfing candle with a bigger wick from the lower side, as you see. That rejection came also at the monthly S1 pivot, which is a good support level. Looking left also, we had this low here acting as support, and the monthly S1, and there where we had the bounce on this pair. So for next week, I'm looking for a possible trend continuation on sterling USD, and if we get another retest back down around the monthly S1 or the lows of these candles, I will be looking for a possible bounce back up and looking for a possible break of this structure here. That would be good. Or if you see that the market breaks these structure here, give you a retest, then that would be another possibility to try to trade this up. The first trouble area could be the monthly pivot point here. The second could be somewhere in this area up here. Yeah, that is the short-term range we have on this one. Looking at the RSI and the divergence, you see that it is a clear bullish divergence. Lower low, lower low, higher high, higher low here. So we have some divergence also, but the short-term structure here is not broken yet. We want to see a break of that or a retest back down here and try to ride another bounce to the upside. That would be the best scenario to give you a better risk to reward on that. Yeah. New Zealand Chief, wow, I was expecting this one to bounce a little bit earlier around this area, but yeah, as we said last week, was lots of fear in the market, and the money was running towards Swissy and gold and Jappy the whole week almost, but not Friday. So this pair now did break below the monthly S1 and got rejected at this structure. It is very important structure here now for the overall trend on this one. We are seeing only a retest or a possible bounce to this area or the monthly and another bounce to the downside. It's a little bit tricky area here. You could, if you got this at first, if it goes and retest this structure here, you could try to take another long, and the structure that you're gonna be looking at is around the 0.71 area for a possible troubles on the way. Yeah, to the downside, of course, we want to see this structure broken, and we're gonna have a trouble at this structure too. Yeah, so from this level here, that would be a good trade. Partial take profit somewhere here, and see if we're gonna get a break of this area and continuation for the monthly pivot or possibly higher. More than that, it is a little bit hard traded, because even if you get a break of this structure to the downside, I think this neckline gonna give you some trouble also. So this would be better traded higher if it give you good bullish evidence. Yeah, so this is your trading range for next week. Back down, bounce up, or if it gives you bounce from this level up here. Yeah, this trade was a perfect trade that we did follow in the Telegram room, very long, update on this one step by step, and it did perform very well since this move started to the downside. So yeah, glad for you, those of you who took this trade from the Telegram room idea. New Zealand Jappy, wow, what a move, what a great move to the downside. And yeah, looking at the daily, you see this move was a very strong move to the downside. Now we reached the extreme on the RSI, and we had a bounce from this level, and the RSI start heading up. It is a very important level. Looking left, structure wise, we do have support here, got 2 times tested, then broken, and then acted as resistance. So this structure here is a very good and important level to look at for a possible bounce to the upside. We did get that bounce. We are trading the close on Thursday was just above the monthly S3, which is on the extremes, and Friday we got a break of the X3, but then a rejection back above and a higher close. So yeah, for next week, what we will be looking at here is if this pair gonna give us a possible double bottom scenario to try to look for a possible long on this one, because I think the monthly S3 gonna act as good support level, and yeah, the RSI is really was below the extremes. We have this structure here should act as good support in my opinion. If we take a Fibonacci retracement tool, you see this structure here. We have also the 61.8 of this whole move to the upside. So yeah, there is some possibilities for on lower time frame to try to find possible, if you get another retest, a double bottom here, to at least a retest of the monthly S2. That would be a good short-term trade, which is a counter trend trade from this level here. Or if you want to wait and trade with this move to the downside, then you're gonna be looking for possible bounce from the monthly S2 back down to this area, yeah, because that level is also a good structure resistant level now, yeah. So yeah, you have this range to try to find a counter trend is from the lows here, and a trend continuation is from the 80.500 area here. That would be a good level to look at if this level hold. New Zealand USD, what do you say, guys, about this structure? In my opinion, this daily structure, yeah, still the major low is this one, was not broken yet, but this low here is broken. We kept trading lower. We break this low here, but never broke this major low. Now we are trading below this, the first time since this move to the upside. It's the first time we break the 20 moving average and keep heading lower, yeah. So the move is very extended now, and if we want to trade this one for a trend continuation to the downside, you see that we have a bounce on the 38 Fibonacci retracement of this whole move on Friday, but the momentum to the downside is very strong. It is it did break this trend line, retested, and yeah, there is a possibility that we keep heading down, but I want to see some correction higher before entering any short. The area is this structure here is a good structure to start looking at, but it is a little bit of a choppy, so you don't have a clear level. You see the S1 monthly S1 is at this level here, when where the price did find some rejection back up. Yeah, if we want to trade this to the downside, we want to see it at least somewhere back up at this structure here. I would say the monthly pivot for a possible bounce to the downside. Otherwise, if we go down to the 4 hour, you see that we've making lower lows and lower highs all the way until this double bottom here. So there is a possibility that you may see reaction at this structure here next week already, because looking at the 4 hour, you see this area was a very good support and resistance level here in the past. So short term, you may be gonna at first look at this structure up here if you're gonna see bearish evidence at this structure. Otherwise, if we want to trade this from a better level and the daily structure wise, we would be looking for a retest a little bit deeper, a little bit higher, because this area here gonna act as very good resistance. Yeah, it is a bit hard to know if we're gonna get as a deep correction as I'm hoping for. So look at lower time frame. If you see the momentum is weak again to the upside and we never can break this high here on the 4 hour, then there is a possibility that we may see that bounce back down from this structure and the retest of the daily 20 moving average back down. Looking at this only this leg to the downside. Even if we put a Fibonacci retracement tool, you see that the 38 gonna be at that high here that I've been talking about. If we look at the 4 hour, whoops, you see that at the 4 hour, this high here is a very important level to look at. We have also the 38.2 Fibonacci, so this level here should be the first level we're gonna look at for a possible bearish evidence and possible trend continuation to the downside of this move here. And sorry guys, that was it for today. We had lots of internet issues while we were making this stream, so yeah, we'll call it a day here, and you will get update about the rest of the pair in the Telegram channel or over at my Facebook page. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please don't forget to hit the like button, and see you soon again. Bye bye.